dark in here. Is it dark in here?
Same as every day.
No, not really. It's dark.
What should we expect?
Good morning.
Good morning. Mike Wallace.
Did you have a good day yesterday?
Yeah.
Yes.
My children.
Nice. It's a great day. Anyway, sorry.
What'd you get for Christmas?
Actually, my boys surprised me. I love to bow hunt, and they surprised me with a new bow, so I'm fired up about that.
You're not wearing yours.
I might. It's going to be right behind this thing. No. All right.
You brought Mike Wallace off IR. What do you expect out of him?
Well, we got to, again, today's a walkthrough, so we won't see too much out of him today, but we'll get out there tomorrow and let him run around and see where he's at. And, it's still going to be a day-to-day thing with him. And we'll make a decision, obviously, later in the week and see how he is.
Doug, what did Josh Hawkins show you on the practice squad to bring him up over two guys who played?
Yeah, I mean, Josh is a guy. He's he's a smart guy. He's got good speed and quickness. He's played, obviously, and it's a great opportunity for him, and to make a couple changes this late just to see a young player, see what you got. Good time to do it.
On Sunday night, Jason Kelsey said it was actually Carson Wentz who called him over to get snaps with Nate Sudfeld. We haven't talked to Carson in a while. What's he been like behind the scenes? Is it a little different than last year when he was, really significantly injured and maybe couldn't be around as much?
Yeah, it was harder last year from a mobility standpoint. He would obviously get in here and get his rehab and then move on. But now, he's still active, big part of the quarterback room. He's been active on the sidelines, obviously, and he's been very positive. A leader that you'd expect in a situation like this. I know it's got to be hard on him, not being out there, but at the same time, he's supporting Nick and the guys and doing whatever he can to keep everybody engaged.
Doug, Chip Jernigan had a little bit of a setback when you first brought him back, and then you think he's finally over that? Maybe you'll expect more from him this week?
I think so. He's felt good the last couple of days. We'll see today how he feels again, and we're optimistic that he can handle a little bit more.
How do you think Big V did Sunday?
I thought there were some highs and lows with Big V. He had a tough task. We know Clowney's a tremendous football player, and he's very active, and we knew that going in. And Big V is he's been one of the kind of anchors of that offensive line with all the different moving parts that we've had all season, whether he's playing left or right tackle, and to come in that early in that football game, it's a credit to him again. But there were some. I think as the game went on, though, he did settle down and played a little bit better as the game went on.
What's your left tackle look like this week for you?
We'll see today. JP, felt good. We'll see how he gets through the walkthroughs today, and still would expect him to be in the lineup Sunday.
Doug, you mentioned Clowney. When you go back and watch the film with the team and see a play like he makes on Nick and hits him the way he does, and then a similar play in the Rams game where Sue got him, what kind of reaction does that get from your team when Nick is able to stand in there and make those kind of throws? What does that do and resonate in the locker room?
Well, I mean, it goes a long way to your teammates. It just shows the toughness of your quarterbacks to be able to stand in there and take hits like that, and obviously, and to deliver the football and be accurate with the football. That's what, that's why they get paid the big bucks, as they say, to be able to do that. And then the guys look at it too, and they go, you know what, we got to do a better job. We got to keep our quarterback clean, and so they look at it that way too. But just shows the toughness and the I think the example of how a player, a quarterback in this case, can kind of take those shots and keep standing in there.
That skill to not drop his eyes when the pressure's coming, is that something you feel like he had coming into the league? Is that something he's focused on and improved on, or just what's sort of the evolution there?
I think it is something that he had. I remember going, thinking back to the time when I was looking at him on tape in college, and I remember one particular game where he played USC, and he was taking shots like that in that football game. Now he ended up losing that game, but he kept coming back every series and staying in there, going toe to toe, making some tough throws. So I knew that part of it was in him, and then to see it Sunday, in this league is a tough thing, and it's a credit to Nick.
Nick's always been a pretty good deep thrower. What is it about his deep ball that You know, is it the amount of air he puts on the air? Why is he so catchable?
Well, I think that's one of the differences with Nick is he puts a little more air on the ball. You know, he gives the receiver an opportunity. And listen, every deep ball can be a little bit different. It could be a back shoulder throw. It could be a down the field where they got to stretch out. So every deep throw can be a little bit different. And I think our quarterbacks have really developed touch and feel for that. And you know, you've seen that with Nick now in the last couple of weeks.
Coach, unless I'm mistaken, you were the only one to work out Nick before he came into the NFL. He's had quite the calendar year, starting January, beginning of February to now. And he's had quite the impact on this city from a sports standpoint. When you see that, how does that make you feel?
Great.
Well, knowing that you were really the only one to really take a look at him before he came into the league.
You know, I mean, it's just. I think you know, when you're evaluating quarterbacks, I think when you're evaluating any player coming out of college, especially if there's an interest, you know, for your football team, everybody's different, but it's just an opportunity to go and spend time with these guys. The thing is, whether we spend time back then and then draft the guy, or we spend time back then and he becomes a free agent on another team somewhere, and we can go back and say, okay, this is what I thought about, you know, this particular player then. You know, it's good to do your due diligence and spend time with players because you never know when they're going to be on your team.
So you mentioned earlier that, you know, this obviously is pretty tough for Carson having to sit out again, you know, for the second year in a row down the stretch and everything. Do you find that you're talking to him more about, you know, just keeping his spirits up, you know, now as opposed to in the past, just like how important that is?
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to continue to talk. You know, I don't think you have to necessarily always go out of your way and make sure that. I mean, he understands. He knows the situation he's in. He's trying to get healthy, and but at the same time, I want him to understand that, you know, hey, you know, he's our guy. He's the guy we drafted, and moving forward, you know, he's our quarterback, and I don't have to sit there and, you know, keep encouraging. You know, he knows that, and so. But we do have conversation, and you know, I try to encourage him the best I can.
In Jordan Hicks' case, you've seen him play at a high level for you. You've seen him miss a lot of time. How do you view him going forward? Do you think he's a player who can be a foundation piece here, or are the injuries a concern?
Well, I think that right now we're focused on the Redskins, and I'll worry about, you know, the roster in the spring when I get to the spring. Jordan's been a big part of our success here, and you know, he helped us win a game last week, and he'll help us win another one Sunday.
He didn't take his full allotment of snaps last week.
He eased in. Yeah, he eased in, yeah, a little bit.
What's that?
In the game you're talking about?
Yeah, in the game, he came off the field in some sub packages.
Right.
Is that how you expect to go?
That was the plan going into last week. Just you know, it's hard to put a player give him the full compliment right away because it's different than training and rehab. So I thought he did what he. It's kind of like Tim Jernigan. What he was given, he did well, and now we can probably increase that load this week.
Doug, with Jason Peters, how do you look at his season? He's, you know, when he's played at a fairly high level, but he keeps coming out of games, and it's happened a lot.
I think, I mean, JP, when he's in there, he does well. I think there's probably maybe some frustration that he can't get quite healthy enough. And listen, it's just the nature of this game. You know, everybody's going to be nicked up, and in his case, it's kind of been, you know, an ongoing theme, you know, each week. But he battles through it. He comes in and gets his work in, and he puts himself in a position to help us, you know, on Sundays. And, you know, it'll be no different this week. And but I think maybe deep down, anytime I think a player feels that every single week, at some point you get a little frustrated because you definitely want to be healthier, you know.
Doug, with Nate being one hit away, as we saw in this past game, how much confidence do you have in him in his second full year?
A lot of confidence. You know, he's smart. He throws the ball well. He's accurate. You see him in practice with, you know, obviously, you know, going against our defense and some of the throws he makes. I mean, he was calm. You know, quite frankly, in that situation, he was calm. You know, on Sunday, didn't know if he was going to go one play or the next 4 or 5 plays. But yeah, I got a lot of confidence in him. You know, if he had to play.
Coach, if Darren Sproles wants to come back next year, would you like to have him back?
I think Darren Sproles would be a great addition. You know, he's a great leader. He works hard. He's a great mentor to a lot of young players. I think anybody would love to have a Darren Sproles. I mean, I would. Yeah. Thanks.